What are hormones? Have you ever heard someone blame behavior on hormones? I'm sure you did. This happens pretty much at adolescence, because it is a time when body undergoes a significant hormonal shift. Well, hormones are chemical substances that travel throughout the body in your blood and trigger changes that regulate almost everything, from your mood and sleep to growth and reproduction. These are secreted by the organs, called glands. And these glands, together with the hormones, make up an important system of our body, called the endocrine system. Well, our nervous system controls faster processes, such as breathing and heartbeat. The endocrine system controls body processes that happen during a longer period of time, such as cell growth. The nervous system and the endocrine system often work closely together. For example, the nervous system controls the timing of what the endocrine system does, and when should it secrete hormone. We will discuss this late in this video. Well, the hormones act as chemical messengers to the body's organs and tissues. And when secreted into the bloodstream by the glands, they travel throughout the body to reach the various target organs and bind to the specific receptors on the cells there, forming a hormone-receptor complex. This complex then induces various changes in the target cells. Let's have a closer view here. So, these are the hormones reaching the target cell, having various receptors for them. Interesting is that these receptors are specific for one single hormone, so it can bind only if it encounters a specific hormone. These receptors are either the cell surface receptors, present on the cell membrane as shown here, protein hormones like insulin, and catecholamines like adrenaline, mostly bind these receptors and trigger the cell to make a second messenger protein, which causes some changes in the cell. Or some cells have intracellular receptors that float in the cytoplasm. It is mostly the steroid hormones, such as estrogen, as these hormones can easily pass through the cell membrane of a target cell. So, they bind to these intracellular receptors in the cytoplasm, forming a hormone-receptor complex that enters the nucleus of the cell, where it binds the DNA of cell and activates a specific gene to make a specific protein. That, in turn, performs the function. Like as in the case of estrogen, this protein makes oxytocin that prepares the female body for childbirth. Now, a question must be popping up in your mind here, that what exactly causes the secretion of hormones from the gland? Well, sometimes it is the nerve signals that trigger the release of hormones, as in the case when you encounter a threat. Your nervous system quickly sends signals to your adrenal glands to secrete adrenaline or epinephrine. That is well known for its fight and flight response. It quickly binds with target cells to increase blood flow to your muscles, dilate your pupils, increase your heart rate, and increase your blood sugar levels. To help your body tackle the situation, hormones can also be triggered when sensory cells detect changes in your blood and other body fluids. For example, you know that calcium is associated with healthy bones. So what happens if sensory cells detect low calcium levels is that the parathyroid gland releases parathyroid hormone, that helps in bone remodeling. Not only this, but the hormone release can also be triggered by the release of another hormone, as hypothalamus produces several hormones that control other glands, including the pituitary gland. When the hypothalamus produces a prolactin-releasing hormone, it travels to the pituitary gland to trigger the release of prolactin that stimulates milk production in females and increase the sensitivity of testes for luteinizing hormone. Okay, so hormones are made in glands and organs throughout the body. Some organs of the endocrine system only produce hormones, while other organs, such as the stomach or kidneys, have other functions too. And the major parts of the endocrine system include hypothalamus. That is a part of the brain that maintains the homeostasis. It secretes hormones that stimulate or suppress the release of other hormones from pituitary gland. Examples being the corticotropin-releasing hormone, or CRH. Other examples are mentioned here in the table. Pituitary gland, or hypophysis. That is divided into two divisions, anterior and posterior pituitary. Both releases different set of hormones mentioned here. If you are interested enough, do watch our video on what is pituitary gland. Thyroid gland, that is present in the neck, and releases the hormones thyroxine, or T4, and triiodothyronine, or T3, that regulates growth and metabolism. Parathyroid glands is also present in the neck, just behind the thyroid gland, and releases parathyroid hormone that regulate calcium levels in the blood and bones. Adrenal glands are found sitting on the top of each kidney and consist of two distinct parts, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. They produce hormones that regulate the fight or flight response, blood pressure, and metabolism. Pancreas is the organ located in the abdomen behind stomach and produces hormones that control blood glucose levels along with producing digestive enzymes, all mentioned here. Thymus is a lymphoid organ present between the lungs in the chest. It produces these hormones that stimulates the immune system. Pineal gland is present in the brain and releases the hormone melatonin that makes us all sleepy. Ovaries are the female reproductive part and secrete estrogen and progesterone that regulate female reproductive health. And testes is the male reproductive part that secretes the hormone testosterone, which plays a role in male physical development. Hormones are also produced by organs in the body, like stomach, kidney, heart, and even placenta releases these hormones. So, the hormones and the endocrine system play important roles in homeostasis and keep the body maintain its balance. And I mentioned earlier that the nervous and endocrine system work together, as nervous system keeps an eye on the levels of hormones in the blood. Whenever it finds the levels of a certain hormone is too low, it quickly sends signal to the respective gland to secrete more. And when it finds the levels high, it asks the gland to stop producing more of it. In order to maintain the normal levels, let's take a look at how this feedback loop works to keep the body in balance. What happens when the parathyroid gland detects low levels of calcium in the blood? Well, in response to low levels of calcium, the parathyroid glands release parathyroid hormone. That stimulates the osteoclasts and the bones to break down bone tissue, which releases calcium into the blood. It also signals the gut to start absorbing more calcium from diet. So, the levels are balanced. What happens if calcium levels flips the other way and becomes excessively high in the blood? In response to elevated blood calcium levels, the thyroid gland produces the hormone calcitonin. Calcitonin stimulates osteoblasts to use calcium in the blood to build bone tissue. At the same time, the parathyroid stops producing parathyroid hormone. In the absence of parathormone, the osteoclasts in bone stop dissolving bone tissue and releasing calcium into the blood. The calcium levels in the body revert to normal. By doing this, the endocrine system kicks back into gear to lower those levels and restore balance to the body. So, that was all for today. You can find detailed videos on different hormones in the vast library of sqadia.com. Links to some of them are given below in the description.
Explore our extensive library of over 1,800 video lectures to learn about a wide range of topics. Only on sqadia.com.